Dangal greetings, this is our project for OOP, and I'm Kit Lawrence and M. Abalos, and I'll explain the main class. We can see the lines of the variables. These lines declare variables to store information about the robot and its components. Note that strength level and mobility level are initialized as empty string. Robot is declared to hold an instance of the robot class. Next, we have this while loop. This while loop presents the user with a menu to either create a new robot or exit the program. It prompts the user for their choice. If the choice is number 1, the loop breaks and the program proceeds to robot creation. If the choice 2, the program exits using the system.exit. If the choice is invalid, an error message is displayed. Scan.next line is used after scan.next int to consume the new line character left in the input buffer. Next, getting basic robot information. The program prompts the user to enter the robot's name and model number and store these values in the respective variables. Again, scan.next line is used to consume the new line character. Next is a new robot object is created using the provided name and model number. It's assumed that the robot class has a constructor that takes these parameters. A robot assembly line object is created associated with the newly created robot. This suggests that the robot assembly line class is responsible for adding components to the robot. A confirmation message and the basic robot details are printed. Next, this while loop continues as long as the isBuilding flag is true, allowing the user to assemble the robot by adding different parts. And then, the if-else-if block handles a specific assembly option. Case 1. Add a robot heads. Prompts for eye color and sensor type. Then calls the add head method of the assembly object. Next, the case 2. Add robot torso. Prompts for the power source and calls the add torso method. Next, case 3. Add right arm. If strength level is not yet set, it prompts for the strength level for both arms, then it calls add right arm. Case number 4. Add left arm. Similar to the right arm, it prompts for strength level if needed and calls add left arm. Case 5. Add right leg. Similar to the arms, it prompts for mobility level if needed and calls the add left leg. Case 7. Add weapon. Prompts for weapon type and power level, then calls the add weapon method. Next, building the robot. These options allows the user to finalize the robot building process. It prompts for confirmation before building. If the user enters Y, it calls the build robot method of the assembly object. The result of a build robot method is assigned back to the robot variable. It's possible that build robot returns null if not all necessary parts are needed. If the build is successful, returns a null robot object. A success message is displayed and the isBuilding flag is set to false, exiting the assembly loop. If the user enters N, the building process is cancelled. Invalid inputs prompts for a valid option. And this else line. If the user enters an invalid choice in the assembly menu, this message is displayed. Next, robot interaction menu. Again, if-else-if blocks handles a specific robot action like the handling assembly choices. The case 1, power on, calls the power up method of the robot object. Case 2 calls the power up method. Case 3, combat mode, calls the combat method Case 4 move calls the move method. Case 5 show details print the robot object. This likely calls the toString method of the robot class to display its detail. And the case 6 is the exit that will exit the program. Invalid robot interaction. If the user enter an invalid choice in the robot interaction menu, this message is displayed. That's all.
Good day everyone, I'm Justin Brillantes and today I'll be talking about a class from our project in object-oriented programming. So I'll be talking about the robot class. So the robot class has 10 attributes, which are the name, model number, head, torso, right and left arms, right and left legs, and a weapon and a status to check if the robot is powered on or off. We have the class constructor here. It takes in two parameters, which are the name and model number. So at first, the robot is powered off. So the assemble method takes in seven parameters, which are the parts of the robot. So we just assign those parts to the robot. We have the power up method, which turns everything activated. And then the combat method activates the weapon and both the robot's arms. The move method activates the robot's legs and allows it to move. The power off method turns the robot off. Then we have two getters for the name and the model number. We also overridden the toString method to showcase the robot's properties. So that's it for my part in the project. Thank you.
So, greetings everyone. My name is John Isidore S. Granada. So, today we will discuss about the head class. So, first we have here the public class head that defines the public class name. Head, it could represent the head of a robot with feature like a sensor and eye color. So, next we have here the private strings and booleans. So, first we have here the private string eye color. Store the color of the robot eyes. And next, the private string sensor type of sensor used to infrared and thermal. Next is the private boolean. Is sensor activated? Keeps track of whether the sensor is currently active. And next, the private boolean is activated. Check if the head is activated, turning on. So next, we have here the public head, string eye color, and string sensor type. So this constructor is called when a new head object is created. It sets the initial value of eye color and the sensor type and turn off the head sensor by default. So next is public string get eye color and the public string get the sensor. So this method it returns the current eye color and sensor type. Next is the public void set eye color and set sensor type. So here, this allows the modification of eye color and the sensor type. So next we have here the public void activated. So for this code, this method is activate the head if it is not already activated. So we have here the code of it is activated to true, and we will print the head is activated. We will start the sensor if it's not yet activated. If it is already running, it prints the message indicated. So here, if that starts running, sensor is activated. If it's not, the head is already if this head is already running. So next and lastly is the public void scan area. This method simulates a scan of the surrounding area. If it is generate the random number 1 or 2 here, and if the number 1 is number 1 choose, it is print the enemy is detected, prepare for combat, and if 2 prints no sign of life nearby. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Aaron Gudanias and today I'm going to discuss the two class in our project, which is the arm and leg class. So let's start with the arm. So first we define two properties for the arm, which is the strength level. So this tells us how powerful the arm is. Maybe it's a light duty arm or a super strong one. And is activated, which is true or false value that simply tracks if the arm has been turned yet. When we create a new arm, we give it a strength level and by default it's off. We don't want our robot flailing its arm before it's ready. And then we have two simple methods. One to get the strength level and another to set or change it. That's useful if we decide to upgrade the arm later. And then here's the important part, which is the activate method. When we call it, it checks if the arm is already turned on. If not, turn it on and print arm activated. If the arm is already on, just print a friendly reminder, which is the arm is already activated. This prevents it from being activated twice, which is exactly how you want the robotic system to behave efficient and clear. And then, now let's move on to the leg class. It works similarly to the arm, but with a few small differences. So, instead of strength, a leg has mobility level, which describe how agile or capable the leg is. Maybe basic walking or advanced running. Like the arm, the leg starts up not activated, and we have methods to get or set the mobility level. This activate method for the legs does two things. First, it powers on the leg and we output, and then it also tells us output, and then it also tells us the movement enabled. That's just a nice way to show the leg is now fully functional. Already powered. Try to activate it again. It will politely say the leg is already powered up. And again, it's simple checks like this help the system stay clean. Then
Um, my name is Kenya Sinasilo and my part would be to explain the robot assembly line class. So first, this line would declare a class called robot assembly class, and next would be the the variables which we would declare variables like the robot parts. And next would be the booleans, which would check if the robot has already its parts. And the next variable would be to create a private robot. And so the next we would construct a robot using this code, and after that we would add a head method like with this one, and here we would construct a add head. Then we would check if it already has a head, and if it is, then we would show that it already has a head, and if not, then we would create a head and print out successfully that we had added a head. Next would be the add torso. Like the add head, we would also check if the robot already has a torso. Then if already, then we would notify the user, and if not, then we would create a torso, then print out that the torso has successfully been added. Same with the add right arm and add left arm. Also with the add right leg and add the left leg. And also with the weapon, we would just first check if already the robot has a weapon, or and if it is, then we would alert the user that it has already a weapon. Then if not, then we would create a weapon. Then we would create a weapon. Then the last method would be to build the robot. So we would check first if if it already has all the required parts, then we would construct a robot. We would build a robot, then we would alert that the robot has been successfully built. And if not, or if it has a one part that has been missing, so we would first print out that we cannot build the robot with a missing part. Then we would check all of the parts that the robot have not, and we would print out if the robot has the missing parts. For example, if the has head boolean is false, then it does not have an head, then we would print out that the head is missing. And same with this other booleans. So if it is false, then we will print out that the robot has missing parts of that whatever has been false in the boolean. So that's all for the robot assembly line.
Ligaw sana. And then we're going to discuss the torso class in our lab activity. So let's look at the class declaration. We see that the class is named torso, and inside it there are two main fields or properties. The power source, a string that tells us what powers the torso, and is activated, a boolean that checks if the torso is on or not. Moving on, we have a constructor. The constructor takes a power source as a parameter and sets the is activated to false by default, meaning it is off when first created. After that, we have two getters and setters. The get power source simply returns the current power source, and set the power source, updating or changing the power source. Lastly, there's an active method. Here's how it works. So if is activated is false, the method turns into true and prints torso is activated. However, if it's already activated, it prints the torso is running. In conclusion, this class is simple model of robotic torso that can power check and activated. It's a good example of encapsulation.
Greetings everyone, I'm Andre Alvaro. So today I'm gonna talk about the weapon class. So weapon class is specifically for any weapon of a robot that can use. So it defines the essential characteristic in action that every weapon will have. So here's the breakdown. So instance variable. So it is what the weapon has. So we have here private string weapon type. So this variable holds a text description of the weapon. So it's like laser or rifle or even baseball bat. So we have here a private string power level. So this stores the power strength or intensity. So it can be as high, medium, or low. Again, private ensures control access. So we also have private boolean is activated. So this is a simple on and off switch for the weapon. So it is a boolean, so it can be either true or false. It starts at false. So in here we have a constructor. So it is how to create a weapon. So we have public weapon string type string level. So this special method is called whenever we create a new weapon. So you feed it two pieces of information, the type and the level. So inside it uses this input to set the initial weapon type and power level of the new weapon. So it automatically sets is activated to false when a weapon is first created. So in here we also have a getter method and setter method. So it is how to get the information about the weapon and how to change the information about the weapon. So after that is the behavior of what a weapon can do. So we have public void activated. So this method stimulates turning the weapon on. So it first checks if the weapon is already activated. So to wrap it up, the weapon class is neatly bundled together the essential data and key action that defines what a weapon is and what it can do with a robot ecosystem. So